is the Wednesday edition. Do I text Kirk Ferentz, Iowa head football coach, and let him know that two of his, not just one, but two today, of his prized former players are on our program edition. The V is for Vendetta. I think that was a movie right around the time that Dallas was popular, maybe a little bit later. But what are we doing here? Social media, man. I don't know. Edition. And the Riley Yauk is here for a second consecutive day. How many days is Jesse spending at Bradley University telling people, hey, the best way to succeed in this business is to take a lot of days off and delegate? How long does it take to tell kids that?
It might be it's best to just not go and not let people know what you do. Might be another thing.
Edition of Wilde And Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com. And the all-new, all-improved, all-free ESPN Wisconsin app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Riley Yauk, the aforementioned Riley Yauk, is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios and from his undisclosed location. He's not hitting the transfer portal. He is Mark Tauscher. Tausch, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right, J-Dub. How are you with attack on your brethren? Your attack on the Rob Domofskys and the Spoons.
Yeah.
You doing okay?
Well, I'm fine, and Rob is fine. He and I have been friends.
But fine.
Well,
can agree
look.
with that.
First of all, if we did power rankings of sensitivity among the beat core, like he's a distant second, and maybe even further behind. I'm clearly more sensitive. I own that. I wear that. I get that. But I don't. I'm frustrated by this. So for those of you that are like, what the hell are you talking about? I take, and I'm not the only one who takes, this idea that we are the conduit to the fans seriously. You can criticize me for a lot of things, including how many more of those muffins do you have left?
There's a lot left.
And is this an admission that you were wrong to try and force feed them to Eleanor?
No.
Or
I'm eating them every morning. They're great. Like, no, it's not. It's if anything, it's the opposite of an admission. I think there might be a little bit of mold.
Yummy.
So, I don't think
are you
it's
sure that's
mold.
a freezer burn?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's freezer burn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, continue to
But they're
enjoy
good.
those
So
protein muffins.
It's not an admission of anything. It's a healthy baby little It's not like I'm asking her to eat one of those jumbo muffins from. That's not where we're at. These are little baby protein muffins.
Tausch, next time you're in the office, can you bring us some of these protein muffins? We can munch on them.
No, they taste terrible.
They do not taste terrible. I'm going to bring one for Yaukster. I would hesitate because just like Elaine in Seinfeld, when she found out that the sponge was off the market, this is it. We're the supply is becoming limited. The freezer burned, potentially molded protein muffins are starting to fit. We don't have the stockpile I had. It is now dwindling.
How many would you say?
I will share one with Riley.
How many would you say are left in the bag? Did you buy these?
They're not in the bag.
Did you buy these at one of those warehouse stores that do sell ice cream, but we will not give away free advertising? There are two primarily. That you got like 1,000 muffins.
It's not 1,000, but it was a substantial amount. And again, for those who don't listen every day, Eleanor banned me from eating them when they first came, and then 2 days later couldn't eat one, didn't want to eat anymore, and then they've been sitting there probably 2 to 3 years old, freezered and freezer burnt, but they're still really good. And
just
I would
pop
bet
them in the
Riley
microwave, 30 seconds, and boom, you've got a delicacy.
That's exactly what I did.
Fresh baked goods.
I didn't mean to sidetrack you.
No,
I didn't mean to sidetrack
hey, what? You can't say
it's a fantastic little muffin.
You can't say you didn't mean to sidetrack me when you hold up the muffin to the camera.
Well, but there's two different shows
here's
going
my
on.
muffin. Yeah, would you like to
There's
see my
two
muffin?
different shows going on. All right, continue.
Yeah, well, 3 really. If you go look into the YouTube comments, they were doing a whole show on the draft yesterday. I think in Milwaukee. It's hey, we are here to serve the people, which gets back to my original point. So yesterday, Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel wrote a piece basically saying, and I hate doing this because this is how I think everyone has reported throughout this process the unlikelihood of Jaire Alexander still being on the Packers roster. Now, Spoon had some more details, including, according to his sources, that they decided right after the season that they were donezo with Ja. Which, again, I believe that. Now, can things change over the course of time? You have some conversations, you feel differently about it. Sure, of course. I've told the story multiple times now of talking to someone who works in the building and not on the janitorial staff who said, look, the guy is still a really good player. And then I said, when he plays. And then he said, yeah, that's fair. But it's not like they think he's washed. It's just that I don't think, Goody especially, having gone through the Bakhtiari experience.
Would they tell you if they thought he was washed, though?
Yes. The person I talked to would. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so my point is that we have, because this is such an unusual scenario where you kind of know a guy's time has come to an end, and yet here we are a week away from the draft, and he's still on the roster. The off-season program starting 5 days from now, virtually, though it may be. But it's like this, like The Breakup, the film that you referenced yesterday when we were talking about handing money down the aisle at a baseball game. Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston still live together in their condominium in Chicago, even though they're broken up. And that's kind of how Ja and the Packers are. He's still on the roster, but I keep going back to the fact that Goody said something that I have never heard Ron, Mike Sherman, Ted, or Goody say about a player who is still on the roster. Well, if he's not going to be here and he's not going to be helping us win games, then we want to get something for him because we've invested a lot in Jaire. I've never heard a player who's still on the roster talked about in the theoretical, that you know how coaches and general managers, well, that's a hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. If, the first word is if. That's hypothetical, if he's not here. So this has been a long, drawn-out saga, which is going to almost certainly have the same end game that we've expected from the beginning, which is Jaire Alexander playing for somebody else. Bottom line.
Maybe he won't play anywhere.
I think that's probably unlikely, but you're sure we could allow for that possibility. So anyway, our friend Rob Domofsky, who is an outstanding reporter, he does a great job. He is so much better at the reporting side than I am. I just, when I saw this tweet from him yesterday sharing Tom Silverstein's story and saying, to everyone who thinks there's some personal vendetta here against Jaire, Tom Silverstein is also reporting the same thing, that one way or another, Green Bay is planning to move on from Jaire Alexander. If you don't believe my reporting, maybe you'll believe Spoon's. And this is what I don't understand. Like, none of us have anything against Jaire. None of us. Not Rob, not Spoon, not me, certainly not Wes Hodkowitz at Packers.com. Like, what I don't understand is, do fans actually think that we hold a measure of power that we can influence what the team will do based on what we report or what we talk about on the radio? Or I would hope not.
To act as if you can't at least start a narrative, of course you can. And that narrative then can either not go anywhere or it can balloon up. It's what you choose to report, and this isn't just sports, it's obviously the world. What you choose to report and what you choose to not report does make a big difference in shaping the narrative for what used to be weeks. Now it's for hours. Yeah. So if nobody reports on Jaire, nobody's going to talk about him, or it will be smaller. If people put this out and start that narrative, you better be right, A, and B, you guys have a responsibility to be responsible.
Yeah.
Not everybody on the internet does. So that's why when you write something and you take things, not to say, oh, well, Wilde said we should cut this guy, we're going to cut him. No. But what does happen is you end up getting the conversation maybe jump-started, and then that narrative does take hold because, as we've been told, perception does become reality, especially if guys aren't bringing their own story. So Jaire has not talked, as far as I know, to anybody.
No,
he hasn't said a word
since the locker.
So what happens? Yep. Then all of these conversations become the reality for Packer fans that want to see Jaire back. If Jaire came out and said, "I want to be back in Green Bay," he could. The beauty of the new world is that he has access to do that anytime he wants. Doesn't mean he has to, but yes, you guys do have, albeit a shrinking, in my opinion, influence on how that goes. There still is the narrative that gets put out, and that does take up, especially really good articles that make you think, will continue to multiply on Packers Twitter and in the Packers blogosphere and just in all these chats and everything else.
So I think it's important, though, for those that maybe you don't care, but like, you're only as good as your sources. And so when I mention the person that works in the building, I feel very, 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 very confident in that person knowing what the hell's going on. When I say, I don't know, a source close to Davante Adams, I feel very, very, very confident in that source. Because you don't hear me do a whole lot of sourcing because, quite frankly, I don't
But in fairness,
play the game
Jason, in fairness, yes, but you can also be used. As
no
maybe
doubt,
a
that's what I'm saying
ago.
about sourcing. Yep.
Maybe a couple years ago, that there were some sources that are getting some things out that utilized. I guess I'm not going to say used. I'll say utilized to get
that
their
you think
narrative
that's better?
out.
You feel like that's better?
Nobody wants to be used, but you want to be utilized. So yes.
Okay. My point is that I think the way this has been drawn out has caused people to say, well, maybe they'll keep him, right? Yeah. Because usually when you've kind of decided to move on from someone, you move on from them. And we've heard many, many times over the years, well, we wanted to give him a chance to catch on with someone else. He's done a lot for our franchise. That's not the case here anyway. No. But I just want people to understand that we talk to people. We don't always say, so-and-so told me this. That's not how that part works. It's on background. But if you recall, when there was a certain quarterback who was disgruntled, we, on this program, had a lot of background information from a very good source. And so that shaped the conversations we had. That is what I try to do here. So we have a measure of responsibility, but we also have a measure of accuracy. And my point with Rob's story and Tom Silverstein's story yesterday is that while there's nothing really changed there. There are some details in each of their stories over the last month or so that further what we already assumed was going to happen, which is they are moving on from him. And him working out at some warm weather climate with Xavier McKinney got people's hopes up.
Yeah,
right?
It did.
And I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's a couple of pieces here that I think it's important to talk about. One, Jaire doesn't have any, and we've talked about this a bunch, there was no roster bonus to be paid out. So there was no deadline of saying, we don't want to pay this guy $8 million.
Nope.
Okay? Two, he holds
Jason,
the power.
Let's be honest. Yes.
To say, I don't want to restructure my deal.
So here's the deal. The Packers don't want him back. That's been abundantly clear. I don't even know if they want him back on a less money deal, or if it was incentive based. I just don't think they want him back.
I think
it's so. The bottom line is they have not received any offer of any semblance of worth that makes it worth their time to say we're done. So they're going to hang on and hold out. And my guess is after the draft, when you have to have roster spots and you have to maneuver your roster a little bit, and the fact that nobody is going to give up a conditional pick, I would believe that they'll cut him. Now, I think the best case scenario now is somebody throws a 7th or a 6th round pick at these boys, and it's like, all right, good luck to you, Jaire. Let's move on.
So that's all Goody's hoping for, I would bet.
That's where we're at, and I think you can – I don't think Jaire has been a good player. It hasn't really been consistent enough the last 2 or 3 years. I think most Packer fans that are into it see that and understand it. Everybody hopes that there's like a resurgence. There's the Jaire Renaissance period could come. And I think we as Packer fans need to understand if that Renaissance does indeed come, it's not going to be in a green and gold uniform. It's going to be somewhere else. And that's always the risk. I mean, I am not, unlike Jason, going to compare any other players to Charles Woodson. But you could make the argument that that is what is going to probably need to happen on a much smaller scale. And maybe he'll come back to Green Bay and finish his career when he's 32 and 33 and he has matured a little bit, just like Charles needed to mature. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. I would not bet that that is going to happen, but I would bet that Jaire Alexander has played his last snap in Green Bay and will be either traded for a late pick or is going to be unconditionally released probably before the Packers get their rookies into camp. That's what I would think.
Yeah. And let's remember, Jordy Nelson was cut. Charles Woodson was cut on my birthday, 2013. Like, Charles Woodson was ready to, unlike Jaire, Charles Woodson would have taken a pay cut to stay in Green Bay. He has said that publicly. And Ted said, nope, we're done. Thank you for your service, and moved on. So lots and lots and lots. You were cut, technically, right?
Well, everybody gets, almost every player gets cut. Almost every player. Brett Favre was cut by the Jets.
Leroy Butler was cut. And now he's going into the Pro Football, or he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So
very few players aren't cut. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of any off the top of my head that were never cut via injury, whatnot. And that number is very, very small.
Well, we have not been cut by the team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Instead, we were given
Is there a team I'll tease out after I tell you about the draft. There is a lot of buzz surrounding the draft. We're only, 8 days out. Jason and I, and maybe Jesse, I don't know who's all going to be up. We're going to be doing the shows from up in Green Bay on Thursday and Friday next week. Couldn't be more exciting. Going to be a fantastic night. But you're not going to find any draft seeping through Pella's windows and doors. In fact, you should make Pella your number one pick, because right now you can take advantage of no-interest financing options, or you get free glass upgrades. Their talented designers and installers can match your home's unique decor through seamless customizations. Certain restrictions do apply. This deal ends April 30th. So place your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com. I guess since we've now come to grips with the fact that Jaire won't be a Green Bay Packer, at least in our opinion, is there a team that you would really not want to see him play for next season? There is for me. I'll tell you which team
I
don't want to see
it is. Sorry, go ahead.
Why do you hate teases so much?
I don't hate them. I find them amusing. No,
I'll do it next. That's Wilde And Tausch.
This is Wilde And Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Outdoor Living Unlimited's showroom on Stoughton Road is absolutely a must-see. Nobody builds a better backyard better than Outdoor Living Unlimited. New deck, outdoor kitchen, screen room, fire pit, and in-ground pool. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in building the new deck. Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech decking installer. Looking for a backyard hardscape design? Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited's amazing Madison showroom. Visit our open house on Saturday, April 19th from 9 to 1 p.m. and meet the team. Or visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Whether tailgating or hosting at home, don't serve boring, bland food. As the official grill of the Green Bay Packers, Pit Boss brings the heat with a wide range of wood pellet grills, smokers, and hardwood pellet fuel. Reach another level of flavor that can't be achieved with a charcoal or gas grill, and it's beyond easy. Seriously, Pit Boss grills get cooking with just a few simple steps. Grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, char grill, barbecue, and direct flame sear. The all-in-one Pit Boss does it all. Learn more today at pitbossgrills.com.
Jim Rutledge here, and I want to tell you about the Bruce Company, Dane County's premier retailer of outdoor furniture. They'll help you elevate your outdoor living space like they have for me. Exceptional craftsmanship, all the latest styles, colors, and durable materials that hold up to whatever Wisconsin weather brings. From deep seating to dining, pick your set and the Bruce Company will customize it to fit your style. Visit their furniture showroom in Middleton and let their trained staff help you bring your outdoor dreams to life. The Bruce Company, your outdoor living experts.
Zimbrick Honda has been a proud part of the Madison community since 1973, and they're your one-stop shop for over 250 new Hondas to choose from. Whether it's the sedan, SUV, or truck, their selection of new vehicles is second to none and has exactly what you're looking for. Stop in today at their location on Fish Hatchery Road and check out the all-new 2024 Honda Prologue, Honda's first all-electric SUV, or browse their selection online at ZimbrickHonda.com. That's ZimbrickHonda.com. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Get a sneak peek at the 2025 Wisconsin football team. Join us April 19th for Wisconsin Football Spring Showcase presented by UW Credit Union. The day kicks off with the Coles Kids Combine, followed by Badgers Open Practice at noon, featuring new faces like quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. and offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes. After practice, head to the field for photos with Badgers student-athletes. Tickets are $5 and free for football season ticket holders, UW students, and kids under 12. Claim your tickets for the Wisconsin Football Spring Showcase at uwbadgers.com.
The sound of summer is on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
Fly ball right field. Hit a ton. We're tied.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
Get up. Get out of here. Gone.
Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by Starion Bank and Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. We're on the Packers.
You still want to see that steady play, that steady improvement, and you didn't get it from Jordan Love?
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
That just makes the stakes that much higher this season.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Just to be clear, I don't have any vendettas against teases.
You don't like them, though.
No, I do like them, and I think they're good. I just find it funny.
You never do it, and you always bust my chops.
What do you mean I never do it?
Rarely do you tease. Come on. Like that. Let's not try to distort reality.
Okay, pay off your tease so we can get to Bulaga, would you?
You disagree with me on that? You think you're Johnny Teaser?
I tease.
Really?
I tease on a semi-regular basis.
When's your last tease?
We'll talk to Brian Bulaga next. It's Wilde And Tausch.
Is that
Does
a
that
teaser?
count,
Is that
though?
stating what's happening? That's not a tease.
Yeah, because they know exactly what's coming next.
If you said, and we have my favorite right tackle who started in Super Bowl, blah, 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 he will be joining us next. That would kind of tease.
But it's still, if I say who started Super Bowl, blah, 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 45.
Well,
yeah.
The teasing, you're not a tease guy. You don't have to be somebody you're not. Don't fake it. You know what I mean? So I won't fake this either. I think Jaire, obviously that injury on that warm, beautiful day against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Lambeau set him back. He has not been the same player.
Najee Harris. Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Najee Davenport, but Najee went deuces B for a long time ago. You haven't been there. So I don't know what exactly. Thank you. I don't exactly know where his ceiling is now. I thought he's had a few games since then where you kind of started seeing the old Jaire, but not to the same degree. And obviously he's not been consistent. But when he shut down Jay Jettis and he did the gritty on him and all that good jazz a couple years ago, that's when you started thinking. And then in that postseason, right, you started feeling like, all right, old boy's back. And then last year, the Bears game, only playing 5 or 6 snaps. But the team I don't want to see him go to,
the Detroit Lions,
is the Detroit Lions. Don't want him going to Detroit. And that's where I think it might behoove Green Bay, and maybe Green Bay doesn't care. Maybe. But if Green Bay can, I think you find a team that maybe he won't be as motivated, and you try to get a 7th-round conditional pick so that you can steer where Jaire's going. But the problem with this is nobody is going to take Jaire with that contract for a 7th, 8th, a 45th pick. They're just not going to do that. So if the Detroit Lions feel like Jaire can still play, I think his motivation would be to stick it here, and he obviously has a vendetta against Jay Jettis. I don't want him going to Detroit anywhere else. And again, can he stay healthy? Because as Jason and his sourcing talked to, he still can play. I don't know if he can still play at that level when he was, in my opinion, depoyish. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that point in his career. I just don't.
If Prize Picks offered a season-long projection of 9.5 games played by Jaire Alexander for his next team, would you go more or would you go less?
I'd go less. Just because that's what the history. So with Prize Picks, you can hit. They have a little button in the left-hand corner that you hit, and it shows you the history. Whether it's Giannis will score 28.5, and then they'll show you a 5 or 6 game stretch. Green is up, red he hasn't. You can get a study on that. His study would be less. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. You can turn your sports opinions, like Jason just asked me, into real money. You went up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And, oh, baby, the NBA playoffs are here. You had the play-in last night. You got Bucks, Pacers. You got Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, T-Wolves. Don't miss out on your chance to cash in as the league's best. Fight to win that championship. Download your app today. Use that promo code WI, and you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I think I'm going to go Giannis more. I think that's where I'm sitting right now. And then it comes down to, I think they can stop Halliburton. Game 1 on the road. Giannis can be a dog. He's going to be a dog. How about the other players? Are they going to be dogs on the road? That's always the question. Prize Picks, you can run your game.
My favorite right tackle in Packers history. I'll tell you who it is when he joins us next. Earl Dotson on Wilde And Tausch.
We're on the Badgers.
There are moments where it feels like you're close, but taken holistically, those look like blips.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
To win a championship, you have to consistently be that team.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut, a place I've loved going back to the days when I was a kid participating in their legendary Book It program. Man, I loved Pizza Hut back then, and I love creating new Pizza Hut memories with my family now. And right now, Cheesy Bites Pizza is back at Pizza Hut. For just $13.99, you can get a large pizza with 28 pullable, poppable, cheese-filled bites. And even better, it comes with the Ranch Lover's Flight, featuring 3 bold new dips: Ultimate Ranch, Chipotle Ranch, and Pepperoni Ranch. That's a lot of ranch. 1 large pizza, 3 dips, endless flavor. Ready to dip into deliciousness? Well, hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. And remember, no one outpizzas the Hut.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wilde? Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts. But Pella should be everyone's #1 pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply and support 30/20/25.
Chevy Truck Month is back. Get more truck for your buck at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Right now, get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months and $6,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Chevy Silverado. That's right, 2.9% for 6 years. That really is more truck for your buck. But hurry, offer ends on April 30th. Never overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet. No down payment required. Monthly payments equal $15.15 per 1,000 financed with approved credit through GM Financial.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker, and H&R Benefits Consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Waiting to see a general surgeon? With Stoughton Health, it's always easy access, with most appointments within a week. And with over 160 insurances accepted, you're covered and in good hands. For more information, visit stoughtonhealth.com. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
The Milwaukee Bucks, the Indiana Pacers, Game 1.
Reverse layup off the window and in. What a play by the Greek Freak.
Saturday on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of, but back in Rutherford County, our crowd is second to none. You might not know them here in this big city we're in, but when I go
of our famous friend Brian Bulaga on the internet. I mean, there are some good ones, including this one where he and his 4 fellow offensive linemen at Iowa are doing some sort of a chorus line jumping thing.
Yeah, and I'm shocked he still got picked in the first round when you see a picture like that. I'd be very surprised. He looks like he's in the Rockettes or something like that.
Hi, Brian.
What's going on? Yeah, media day back at Iowa.
Jason's
young and impressionable.
What was that?
Made us media day at Iowa.
So Brian, you probably had a reporter saying, "Hey, this would be fun. Why don't you guys do this? And then we're going to utilize that picture to make fun of you for 15 years." That's kind of the whole shaping narratives. That's kind of what happened right there. Oh, this would be cute. Nobody will see this. Oh, let's have some fun with it. And then that's what gets posted.
Yeah, that's probably mostly, that's likely how it goes. And you don't think about that at the time. And that's how it turns out. That's exactly how it turns out.
Thank you to the Des Moines Register for suggesting that post at Media Day back in Iowa City. Well, you're the first of 2 former Hawkeyes on the program today. You in your regular spot, which you know this is our favorite day of the week. On top of that, we'll be joined by Matt Bowen, another former Hawkeye who played in the NFL, in Tausch's draft class. I believe, Tausch, how many picks were you after Tom Brady?
24, 25, something like that.
I think Matt Bowen was either the pick right before or right after Brady.
He was the pick right before Tom Brady.
There you go. That's what I thought. That was from memory. So thank you, Riley, for your help. Brian, the draft is almost upon us, but we were talking a little bit about the Jaire Alexander situation, which continues to both evolve and have nothing change at the same time, which is kind of weird. Did you feel like I had a vendetta against you and I was trying to run you out of town? Did you feel that way at any point?
No, I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel anyone had a vendetta against me trying to run me out of town. During my time, I felt like my final year I played well enough that nobody was suggesting that I should walk at that point. I mean, if I would have played bad that final year, it'd probably have been a lot different, opinions that were being written about that year. But in 2019, I played one of my best years of football. So the opinions from, yourself and a lot of the writers that were around us every day was a lot different. So, I mean, it was the age. I mean, that's at the end of the day, like we get at age and injury history, it is what it is. And that was the deciding factor at the end of the day. I get they brought in Ricky Wagner, who might have been older than me or maybe roughly the same age.
Cheaper.
But cheaper. Yeah, cheaper for sure. But that was the deciding factor at the end of the day, and it is what it is.
Well, you did win our Tom Mulhern Award that year. You, Tremont Williams, and Mason Crosby all tied,
That's
which
the kiss of death, man.
No,
Chamber
I believe
of Commerce Award and the Mulhern Award. That means you're on your way out the door.
It's not true.
Thank you for your service. No,
not
it
true.
is. That's kind of what happens.
Last year's winners were
Hey, Blue, you're
Josh
a good
Jacobs
guy. You get the Chamber of Commerce Award. You've done great.
And Xavier McKinney. They're not going anywhere. But might we have conjured up the balloting slightly because Blue had been so good and we didn't think the Packers were going to bring him back, not because we didn't want him back in the locker room.
You rigged the vote. Oh, interesting. Okay.
There may have been some vote swapping to make sure that we covered 3 guys that had been great media guys that were on their way out the door.
All right, Blue, before we get into Wildy's vote rigging and everything else, I had a comment yesterday about the Packers. It was basically, what picks would shock you? I said quarterback, and that's it. If they picked a quarterback early, that would shock me. Outside of that, I am not going to be shocked. And am I crazy to think that the Packers should look seriously? If there's an Ashton Genty falls to them, or if there is a back that they love, second, third round, is it crazy to think, even though Josh Jacobs is a stud and had a great season, that the Packers should think long and hard about grabbing a guy that they think can be a home run hitter at that spot?
In the second or third round, yeah, I would definitely take a long think on it because, how durable Jacobs was last year. I'm not saying he can't do it again. I'm not saying he can't repeat it, but we know the running back position in the NFL is a tough one. And if this offense continues to rely on him, which we all expect, this offense is going to run through him in some capacity again this upcoming year, there's a chance, and I'm not even putting it out there in the universe, right? Like, I'm not even saying it, but there's a chance that he could miss a play or two, right? Like,
break a chin strap. Break a shoelace, as Campy would say.
It could be a shoelace. He could need a new shoelace or something. And if he has a shoelace that gets ripped, you got to have someone that you can rely on to go in there and be just as dynamic. And so if there's a guy that you love that's in there in the second or third round that falls to you, I don't mind if you take him at all. Like, I think that'd be a solid pick because having good backs, I always look at that as like having good linemen, right? Like, you don't think about it until you need them. You know what I mean? Like, until it pops up. Like, yeah, you got your good running back. You got Jacobs, and like you think, okay, now we can look elsewhere. Well, what if Jacobs misses a game or two, right? Then you're looking at that position, and it's just not the same. It's the same thing with the offensive line. You're down a left tackle or you're down a starting guard, and then you're looking at what's filling in, and you're like, wow, that's really not that good. We missed the mark there. So I kind of look at it as the same, where you can't cover that position up if your stud's missing, where there's other positions on the field where you can normally game plan around it and cover it and do a good job of hiding it. Those are two spots where you can't. So if a back's there, I'm all for it, man. Take him.
Yeah, I had a discussion on KBN yesterday that if they drafted an O lineman or a D lineman, fans are going to be a little bit irritated. I won't be. And the amount of just venom from Kyle Wallace about having an O lineman drafted. Well, then what? Oh, what do you expect with Jordan Morgan? And I said, well, listen, man, you got 3 starters probably are going to be unrestricted free agents moving forward. You can never have enough good offensive linemen, but I do think he's probably going to be right. If the Packers draft A.O. linemen early, especially in the first round, Packer fans will be upset. I'm assuming you'll join my club and say that they shouldn't be, right?
I don't think that they should be upset, but I can understand why they would be. Jason and I have talked about this a bunch. I mean, you've been on and we've talked about this. Like, having 3 guys that are unrestricted in the same year is a tough deal. So that means after this year, you're going to have to either re-sign some of them, or some of them are all some are walking, some are staying. Whatever the combination is, you're going to have to replace those guys. So like you have to start looking a couple years down the road, in this draft and how you're going to replace those guys. So if there's someone that you love that falls to you to 23, and he's an offensive lineman, you take him. But like, I can understand why fans are going to be upset because they're looking from a standpoint of wide receiver. They're looking at the standpoint of potentially DB. Maybe even if there's a stud pass rusher, right? Like, and I know that's D-line, but like they're looking at it from that standpoint, the positions that didn't get hit during free agency that were the hot topics during free agency, right? To me, that's where I think the fans will probably be a little upset. But to me, you can never have enough good big men because that is the biggest shortage in the NFL today. Like, if you look across the board and if you poll GMs, probably, all 32 of them, and say, what's probably the biggest need year in and year out of your team? I mean, take away the quarterback, obviously, right? Like, that's every team's going to say quarterback. Like, we need a quarterback, obviously. Get it. But besides that, what do you think, like, is your biggest need every year? Chances are they're going to say offensive linemen because, like, they just don't come out of the college ready to go like they used to. Like they're not ready to go, and the quality of them these days just aren't the same. So if there's good ones, you take them and you hold on to them and you make sure you develop them and get them ready to go for the future.
So, Blue, if you had to predict, you have Tom, you got Ryan, you got Walker. I think we're both going to agree Zach Tom's going to get a big, fat extension. Would you think that one of the other two will still be on this roster next season at this time? Would you say both will be, or would you say neither would be?
Good question.
I would say one will be. I'll say one.
Okay.
And I think it's probably going to be Sean Ryan if I had to take a guess, because I think Rasheed Walker at left tackle will price himself out of it, which is totally great for him, right? Like the left tackle market, a starter, he's not going to. I mean, he shouldn't, right? If he plays the way I think I know he's capable of and the way he wants to play, he's not going to take some deal that is bad for him, right? Like there's no point to do that. When the market will be good for him, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use a guy like him. So, like, why would he take a deal that's bad? And that's just the way I look at it. But Sean Ryan is an interesting kind of deal, right? Like, he's kind of had to fight his way into this starting job. He's been rotated in and out. Does he take another short-term or a one-year prove-it deal to play another solid year, then get an extension? Or how does that look? That, to me, will be an interesting negotiation or how that works out after this season. Now, it all depends on how he plays, right? Like, it all depends on how the product looks on the field this season, right? Like, I don't want to, get ahead of myself, but all signs, to me, from last year, coming in to this offseason, shown that he's getting better. So, like, if that trend continues, it'll be an interesting negotiation this offseason for him.
So before we take a break and then get to more tackle talk, I have a question for both of you. So we're looking at an offensive line where not one, not two, but three guys are going to be free agents at the same time. We're looking at a wide receiver room where Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs will be free agents as well heading into next March. And then the following year, barring extensions, Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks will be free agents. And I think Bo Melton is in that group either for next year or the year after as well. I think he was a exclusive rights free agent this year. We all agree, unless I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, we all agree that the league is a young man's game philosophy that Goody has is, as an overarching theory, the right way to approach roster building. Yes? We're all in agreement?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Is one of the drawbacks to that, though, that you put yourself, and Brian, this is what you and I were talking about a couple weeks ago, you put yourself in this position where you just have a glut of guys who are in contract situations where they either need an extension or you need to let them walk and replace them. Like, I've obviously done this a long time. There weren't a lot of times where we got to March and I'm like, wow, they got three guys at position X that are all going to be free agents. And here we are now with three linemen, two wide receivers, two more wide receivers next year, and those are all guys that have played a ton of snaps. Is that a drawback to this approach?
No, and here's why. And I think what we've seen the Packers do, and this has been really from a historical standpoint, but really with Russ and Goody, they have been less proactive signing guys early, and then you get discounts when you sign guys early. They haven't done that in many cases, but when they have, it's been their studs. It's been Elton Jenkins that they went and did. They did Kenny Clark, I think, back in the day where they signed him early. There are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, they have said, let's see this out, and unless you are proving that you are a all-pro, Pro Bowl player early, they're letting the process play itself out longer. And that does get prohibitive in the fact that when you're in this spot. But in this case, Zach Tom's going to get a new deal. I would bet donuts to dollars. He ain't playing this year without a new deal. So that will then say, okay, there's two. And what you see is you keep replenishing the back end. And the Packers, and this goes back to that quote that you had, Jason, from Goody, about only, 1.5 draft picks get a second deal or whatever that number was?
Yep, 1.6.
In the old days, John Runyon Jr. would have got extended by the Packers. He would have stayed. They didn't do that. They thought they could get better, cheaper, and younger, and they're going to pay premium dollars for the premium positions with premium players. They feel fine about doing that. And they're going to continue to replenish younger players at these other spots that they don't want to overpay for just solid play. They want you to be premium, or they think they can replace you as a younger player. That's how I see this thing shaking out.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And quite frankly, like, it's hard to, and believe me, it's hard to look at. I guess we could discuss what solid play is and what, I guess that could be a discussion as well. What we think that is or what we don't think that is. And that's a whole nother debate. But to that point, it's hard, and especially as a GM and putting together a team, it's hard to let solid performers walk and take that risk and bring in younger guys that you don't know if that's going to pan out. So that he's taking a lot of risk when he does that, and it does work out. Hey, man, that's great that it pans out that way. He's taking that risk, but it's worked out up to this point. Now with the offensive line room and how that's going to work out and how he's going to manage that. Obviously, they signed the free agent this year, so he secures a spot there. He pays the premium at that position. We get it. The wide receiver room is going to be unique in how he does it. Because if he doesn't address the position in the draft this year, which I would imagine he does in either the second or third round, I would take a guess that he does. I can't see that he doesn't, but say he doesn't, right? Like say he doesn't make a pick as for a wideout. It'll be very interesting to see what he does, because I don't know what you do then with those two guys that are becoming free agents, because obviously the Watson situation is very unique because he's coming back very late. And to me, he is a guy that has re-sign written all over it if he was coming back earlier, right? Like, and he gets to show he's healthy and his knee's good and he's performing it the way we all know he can. He's a re-sign all day. But since he's coming back a little bit later, and we don't know, is he going to be able to hop right back into it after an ACL from experience? It's a tougher decision. And it's one that, for him, like, he knows he feels good. He's not going to take a cheap prove-it year. So, like, it's going to be an interesting balancing act of, do we let, a guy like that walk, or how do we do it? And to me,
right.
I agree with Tausch with how he put that, but the wide receiver room in this circumstance is a sticky position. Like, it's just an interesting spot that they're in, given the production from last year as well, right? Like, you take it all in from a whole, how the room performed, now the injury deal with Watson and even Dobbs too, and how they're going to go about
right, the
addressing
concussions,
yeah, who they bring back. It'll be interesting how Goody and Russ kind of go about it. Because to me, Watson's a re-sign. To me personally, yep. he's a re-sign. But it's just what is Watson
How about
willing
Dobbs?
to take?
Blue, if Dobbs goes out and has 80 catches this year, are you re-signing him?
Oh, I would. Yes, I would. I would re-sign those two guys.
Okay.
I like those two guys.
Okay.
But here's the thing with Dobbs. To me, it's, does he get through it without any head issues? Like, because the head injuries are an issue, man. Like, I hate to like pick on injuries. But, like, head injuries are different than a hamstring injury, and they're different than a knee issue, and they're different than an ankle. They're head injuries, and, like, it's one hit. It's one time, and that, that could sideline someone that's had repeat issues for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And it's not the guy's fault. It's just the way it is. So, like, it's a tough situation.
Yeah. I'd have a hard time signing Dobbs too, because these contracts now aren't going to be 3 years, $30 million. They're going to be 20, 25 a year, and that's for like a lower second wideout. These top wideouts are getting 35, 40. They're not going to be in that category of Jamar Chase. But if you're looking at Romeo Dobbs or Watson as a 1 or 2 moving forward, which is what it will be, you're going to be paying mid-20s at a minimum. And with Romeo Dobbs, you forgive, but you don't forget. What happened last year?
Ooh.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but doesn't there have to be statistical production to back that number? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, yeah. I get linemen are different. Like, we're in a different category because, like, we don't have any stats besides, like, sacks allowed. But, like, aren't receivers, like, they are solely based on their Pro Bowls and all that, but, like, their statistics are very clear, right? Like, their numbers and what they achieve is very, like, clear on what they're paid. Like, it's not like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're demanding $25 million and your statistics show you this and you equal to this, like, to me, it's pretty clear. But again, I'm not an agent and I don't do these things.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
But if you look at it, yes, those numbers are important. But Christian Kirk from Jacksonville got 20-some million as a third wideout in Jacksonville with not great numbers. It's all about projecting and about what the potential might look like. So you're right. You would think that you're going to have to put up 80 to 100 catches to get that. But if they're evaluating and saying you're going to be our number 2, you know the game. You're going to look, well, what are number 2s in the league getting? Oh, so-and-so in Miami's getting 28. So-and-so's getting this. And with the cap continuing to go up, that's the price of doing business. And I just think Green Bay is going to have tough decisions because I doubt that production is going to make it easy. Maybe one of these guys, but I would be shocked if you get 2 or 3 guys that you're looking at saying, we got to pay this guy. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I'd be surprised unless something changes drastically from last season.
And you have Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks the following offseason to figure out. On top of that, Romeo Dobbs, forgive but not forget, is exactly right. I don't know how they don't wonder, is this guy going to not show up for work again if he's unhappy with his role again? You could say all is forgiven but that's got to be somewhere in the back of their mind. And as I've said before, talking with somebody who works in the building, he can make himself a ton of money this year by putting his head down, staying healthy, and being productive. But I don't think the ton of money is going to be from the Packers. I think he can earn a really nice free agent deal from someone else. I don't think he'll have 80 catches. His numbers for his first 3 seasons, 42 for 425 and 3 touchdowns as a rookie, 59 for 674 and 8 touchdowns in 23, 46 for 601 and 4 touchdowns last year. I don't expect him to be an 80-catch guy, and I don't expect him to get a second contract from the Packers. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. More with Brian Bulaga coming up. Tausch needs to tell us, though, woof woof, about his big contest he's doing with Kohler Services.
Yeah, if you think your shower is ugly and you think it's one of the ugliest in Wisconsin, we have a solution. Upload a photo to goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest. And you can find that on that brand spanking new beautiful ESPN Wisconsin app that we've been talking about. You get a chance to win a free shower remodel. Yes, you heard me correctly. One lucky fan will win a free shower remodel from Kohler Services, including a design consultation, demolition, and removal of your stanky old shower or bath, and you get the installation of that brand new sparkling Kohler Lugstone shower. Upload your photo by April 30th to win at goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest. Again, you got a shot to get a free consultation, removal, and installation of a beautiful new Lugstone shower. Just go to goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest.
More Bulaga next. It's Wilde And Tausch.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com.
With your Badger Minute, I'm Riley Yauk, in for Pablo Iglesias. It's been a rough week for Wisconsin football, to say the least, and things went from bad to worse Tuesday morning as head coach Luke Fickell confirmed that starting left tackle Kevin Haywood will undergo ACL surgery and more than likely miss the entirety of the 2025 season. Haywood started every game for the Badgers last year and by all accounts was having an impressive spring. Junior Josh Layton has been practicing in his stead.
Everyone is talking about the draft, but you won't feel one from high-quality Pella windows. Get no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades today at PellaWI.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Get ready for the ultimate Saturday night at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Join us for the all-new Queen of Hearts drawing at 4, 6, 8, and 10 p.m. This is your chance for royal glory. When your name is drawn, choose the right card and you could win a life-changing jackpot, up to $150,000. The longer the Queen stays hidden, the bigger the jackpot grows. Let's Hard Rock with the Queen of Hearts only at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Get ready for the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon Golf Outing on Friday, May 30th at Old Hickory Golf Club in Beaver Dam. Registration's at 11 a.m. while 12 p.m. marks the shotgun start. It's only $350 for a foursome with 2 carts and a lunch for 4. The registration deadline is May 16th. A form and more details are available at dailydodge.com. All funds raised through the day will benefit the 2025 Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon.
Wilde And Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of, but back in Rutherford County, our crowd is second to none. You might not know them here in this big city we're in.
Continuing our heavy Iowa-themed radio program today. We got Brian Bulaga now. We got Matt Bowen coming up a little bit later. Brian, I don't want to keep you all morning, but I usually do anyway. I'm curious, speaking of Iowa, the Packers were heavily linked last year to Cooper DeJean, which obviously he was there. He was there. They took Jordan Morgan instead. He actually lasted till the second round, in fact. I'm just curious, now in your role as a analyst and fan, as opposed to being on the roster, do you get your hopes up for certain players? Do you get intrigued by certain players? They've had the 3 top wide receivers other than Travis Hunter, who he's a wide receiver, he's a corner, he's a breath mint. I don't know what he is. He's a unicorn. But they've had the next 3 wide receivers in for visits now.
Did you say he's a breath mint?
Yeah, it's an old reference to a commercial, which I would think you would get since you watch Dallas so religiously.
Breath mint?
Yeah, I'll send you the link. My point is
Blue,
that...
do you have any idea what that means?
No, you guys are younger than me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not catching on. I'm not
I
catching
appreciate
on.
I appreciate your interjecting. So my question is, do you get your hopes up for any sort of specific player in the draft?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. So here's the funny part about last year at that draft in Detroit. So where I was before I walk out to go make the pick, I'm back in their brain center, and where they're, all the picks are coming in and you see it on the screen and they're handing you the card. And they bring you in 5 picks before. So you're back there, and that's how early the picks are actually in, and that's how long it takes for TV. So the picks are in way early, and it's a total production. So I'm sitting back there, and the picks are coming through, and they haven't handed me the card yet, but I see Cooper DeJean's name come up, and they hand me the card, and I haven't, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to say this Iowa kid's name. This is great. And then they're like, oh, the Eagles traded up and they took him. I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right. No big deal. But he was one that I was hoping that potentially, I got to read off in that second day, but it is what it is. And you know what? I think the Packers did pretty good on day 2 of the NFL draft with who they took anyway that day. I think the 2 guys that they got ended up being pretty good, and they're going to be pretty good. So no harm, no foul to them. But this year, in this year's draft, I haven't really looked into it that much to see who I would really like the Packers to get. Probably next week I'll start doing a little bit more when I have to get ready to
breaking
go
down
up.
the film. Yeah.
I don't know how much film I'll break down of these college kids. Probably a little bit more once the Packers select somebody. You know what I mean? Then I have to at least look into who they are. But I'll probably start looking at the boards and who's who and what's what as we get closer next week when I actually have to go up to Green Bay to work with everyone and have fun. And so I know what I'm talking about. But that'll be next week. I'll start to look into that. But right now, it's so hard for me to get into it at this moment, right? It's hard for me because I just, the stuff that's coming across social media is nuts. I just see that Sanders and Hunter are getting their jerseys retired. It's just crazy stuff like that. It's not even about the current draft process and guys actually going through things. When I was going through it, this was dead period when I was going through the draft process a week before the draft. You heard nothing from anyone. It was keep it quiet. Don't mess anything up. Just stay out of the spotlight. Just be quiet. And now it's the complete opposite. It's how much noise can you make the week before the draft to get attention to yourself? And so I just try to stay away from it and wait till a couple days before to really start looking into it and learn names because there's so much going on right now.
I'm still trying to figure out about breath mints. So.
Yeah, I looked it up. I couldn't find anything about calling someone a breath mint.
So, Brian, I guess let's go to this wide receiver question then, because this is a story that it's every year now, right? Javon Walker. Like, if the Packers went 2 decades without drafting a tackle, and you were the last tackle they drafted, that's what we would talk about. Oh, Brian Bulaga, 2010 draft. They drafted a tackle the very next year. So that didn't last very long. They've drafted a lot of tackles, not wide receivers. So Tet McMillan, Emeka Ibuka, and Matthew Golden have all been in reportedly for visits. The idea that we were just talking about with 2 wide receivers that are going into the final year of their contract, 2 more that have 1 additional year left, this all makes sense to me. And there are a lot of Packers fans getting their hopes up. I know that you're not operating on that plane now, but if you're gonna end a 2-decade streak of not drafting a sexy position like wide receiver, what better place to do it than when you're hosting it in Green Bay? Now, I don't know how the board is going to fall, but what would it tell you if Goody does draft a wide receiver in the first round? What would that, if anything, say to you?
Well, I mean, it would certainly kind of address what we're talking about, that they got a lot of guys coming up for contracts, and he knows that he's not going to be able to retain probably majority, right? Like, and that's kind of what, to me, that jumps off the page as that, like, hey, we got 4 guys coming up in 2 years, essentially, and we can't keep everyone. And so we need to replenish, the ranks. And so we're going in the first round to get a guy. And if they did that, I would not be surprised. Have they done it in the past? Obviously, you've said it. No, they have not. It would also say that, to me, that as comfortable as we've seen him be with this group through free agency, he didn't find any free agents that he wanted to go into this room and help, besides Hardman, right? And again, we'll see how that all works itself out as they get going here. As comfortable as he was and that he has confidence in this group, he still believes that the room needs a little pick-me-up as well. It needs a little support within, and to add some depth to that room and some potential, threat that they may not have at this point, depending on who they draft, right? Which player they pick up. I mean, all these receivers are not the same. The guys that you read off, they all don't do the same thing. They're all different types of players. So depending on who they get, they bring a different skill set. And to me, it'll show kind of what he's looking for, what he can add to that room that he doesn't already have. And the big kicker is when you don't have the big body speedster like Watson, is that the type of receiver that he's going to go try to get, right? Like a guy that is like that can stretch the field, that can win the one-on-one jump balls and things like that. So, like, that will be something that I look for if that's the type of receiver they go get. Because when Watson does come back, if you have 2 guys that are like that, and you can put those types of bodies onto the field, plus your tight ends, that's a lot of mismatches for defenses. Like, that's a lot of bigger bodies that corners and safeties don't really want to match up against. And it puts Jordan Love in a good situation to, sometimes you just got to throw it up and trust your guys to go get it. And when you have bodies like that, you feel really good about it. And Aaron did it a bunch, and he always thought James Jones was that type of guy. James Jones wasn't a big body by any stretch of the imagination, but he always thought James Jones would win every 50-50 ball. He thought it was more like 70-30 when he threw it to James. So, like, if you have a couple guys that you feel can do that, it's a lot of confidence to the quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes down that route, what type of receiver he does take. But I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he does. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because if the right guy is there, why not? Like, really,
it's
like,
a
why
need.
not? Yeah, and if you,
I mean, you can't count on.
Say that, yeah.
You can't count on. I am a Christian Watson stan, but you can't.
You're not a Christian.
Spindly. Hey, I didn't realize you were contributing to this segment. I thought you were done. I would say this. You can't count on him because he's coming back from a significant injury and he's in the last year of his contract. So his future is murky. No matter how much you like him, you just don't know at this point. You don't know if he comes back and plays well enough, if some team is going to be willing to pay him what you're not willing to pay him. So that compounds the need, in my opinion, for a wide receiver. Brian, you're going to be with us in person during the draft. Safe travels. We look forward to that. We appreciate our Wednesdays with you, buddy. Thanks.
Yep. See you guys next week.
Oh, we got something fun. Blue and I got something fun brewing for next week, too.
I hear you have a celebrity judge who's involved as well.
I don't know what we all have.
And it's not Judge Judy. Before we could get to the very late 10 o'clock hour, you need to tell us about Quick Trip. Maybe you and Brian have something going on at a local Quick Trip.
I'd love it if we did. Quick Star, Quick Trip. Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're craving that fresh coffee, tasty bakery treat, or a grab-and-go meal, Quick Trip is your go-to. A variety of apps. I'm a mozzie stick guy. Jason, you're a mini taco guy, I believe.
Love those.
And we love the ice cream. Quick Trip's Nature's Touch ice cream. Chocolate and vanilla and cookies and cream. Mint chocolate chip. That's not for me. Cookies and cream is. There is no such thing as a bad pick. And right now, you can get that gallon of Nature's Touch ice cream. This got to be a typo. You can get that for $4.99 for a gallon of ice cream?
No, it's true. I saw it yesterday.
You can also get Nature's Touch milk for $2.99. And, of course, it's chicken. You can get the whole roasted chicken on Mondays for $6.99, $9.99. You got the tenders. You got the bone-in chicken. That's today on Wednesdays. Quick Trip is your ultimate destination. Fuel your day with quality taste. Download the Quick Rewards app. Take advantage of everything that the Quick Trip has to offer. Rewards on every visit. Plus, you can order ahead for pickup or curbside delivery. Quick Trip. We'll see you next time.
The 10 o'clock hour starts in 2 minutes. It's Wilde And Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde And Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut, where Cheesy Bites Pizza is back right now. For just $13.99, you get a large pizza with 28 pullable, poppable, cheese-filled bites. And even better, it comes with the Ranch Lover's Flight, featuring 3 bold new dips: Ultimate Ranch, Chipotle Ranch, and Pepperoni Ranch. 1 large pizza, 3 dips, endless flavor. Hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. Only at Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hi, this is Dave Kane. You're listening to Madison's Home of the Bucks, a good Karma brand radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. My name is Riley Yauk, and this is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out at 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Starting out at American Family Field as the Brewers bounced back quite nicely last night, shutting out the Detroit Tigers 5-0. Reese Hoskins his first bomb of the season, and Quinn Priester threw 5 scoreless innings in the victory. Crew's right back at it today, looking to win the series with Jose Quintana on the bump, looking to build off his last performance. First pitch is scheduled for 12:10 with pregame coverage beginning at 11:30 right here on Madison's Home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. You'll be able to listen to the last 30 minutes of Wilde And Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Then for the Badgers, 2 more players hit the spring portal today. That would be wide receivers Mark Hamper and Quincy Burrows. College football, folks. Wilde And Tausch continues now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Thanks as always to Brian Bulaga. Talk to another Iowa Hawkeye in the 11 o'clock hour before we leave you a little bit early on ESPN Madison because the Brewers are playing today against the, as Riley and Mike McCarthy would call them, Detroit Tigers. So we'll get to that conversation with Matt Bowen at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Tausch, I just wanted to ask you the same question I asked Brian. What, if anything, would drafting a wide receiver in the first round tell you about this team's plans for its offense and for its personnel? Because you and I think, have been in lockstep for the last month or so, talking about how this is going to be a Josh Jacobs and Tucker Kraft / Chipotle Ben / Luke Musgrave-driven offense. Tight ends and a strong running game. What would that tell you if they took one of these wide receivers?
It means they don't believe that they have a number one wideout on their team. And I don't care. I mean, I'm fine with running your offense through your tight end and your running game, but this isn't the 60s, man. This isn't the Junction Boys. Ground and pound, like all that stuff's great, but I need a guy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't feel like Jaden Reed or your guy Wicks, or now I guess you're a Christian Watson stan, which I've never heard before, if you don't buy that any of those guys can emerge as that guy, that's what that would tell me. So you don't draft a receiver in the first round to have them be your number 3. No, maybe you can start that way, but the plan is emerge as a 1. Javon Walker became a 1 until he blew his knee out. Sterling Sharp, Hall of Famer. James Lofton, Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. You're not interested in drafting a guy first to have him be a slot guy that comes in and like you have big expectations for that player, and that means that there's going to be less expectations on everybody else until they can prove that that's the case. So to me, that would say I don't fully believe that this group, as it's sitting here right now, is going to be good enough for us to get over the hump.
We will see if all these visits lead to an actual selection. Obviously, the board has to fall the right way. I would not be surprised if one of them is there if Goody takes him. I would be surprised if Goody decided he had to go up to be able to get one of them before they were gone. That would surprise me.
Well, it's like every draft, you have ideas. And one of the bad things in this year's draft, you want to see 4 and 5 quarterbacks that are going to be first-round picks, because then people start panicking. Mm-hmm. You know, I always say they chase the oasis, right? Mm-hmm. This is not going to be an oasis chase and draft. Like, there's talk that Shedeur Sanders could drop into that mid-first round. If he gets past Nollins, all of a sudden now the Jackson Darts, and, there's a Schlau guy that people are talking about. I watched some clips on him. He is – I don't want any part of that. But there is going to probably be – I think the over-under from ESPN Bet is 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round. That doesn't bode well. Now, hopefully the D-line and outside edge and some of the positions that people feel like is pretty strong, there's a run on those guys. But as you see every year, those wideouts, once one comes off the board, then 2 comes off the board, everybody starts, I don't want to miss out on this guy. And I tend to lean your side here and think I don't sense Goody is going to be desperate to go grab a wideout. I think if the right guy falls, he'd be more than happy to take them. But for everything he has said about wanting more draft picks, the price of doing business in this first round, it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And you don't get more picks when you get desperate and think that you have to grab this guy. But in the same breath, if that cat's going to be a James Lofton or a Sterling Sharp or even a Javon Walker, I'm on board with him making that move.
We'll talk more about the upcoming draft, which is now 8 days away, kicking off a week from tomorrow with the first round on Thursday
It had
night.
been a lot of drama. Not a ton of drama. Outside of Shador, where's the drama in this draft this year?
If you if you want drama, you're right. Question from Don in Mayville on the Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more. It seems the receivers they brought in for pre-draft visits won't last till their second-round pick. Would you? Yeah, those guys will all be gone by the time the Packers pick again. They may be all gone.
How many wideouts do you think go in that first round? How many wideouts do you think? Because they've had, 4 or 5 guys in? 4 or 5
They've
receivers?
had 4 receivers in. 3 of them have theoretical first-round grades of the 4.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I don't know what Travis Hunter is considered. He's Shohei Ohtani, right? Is he a corner? Is he a wide receiver? However you want to view him. In my preview today on Channel 3000, I had him as the number 1 wide receiver, and then I might have him as the number 1 corner when I do that position later. But the bottom line is that the other 3 guys, McMillan, Abuka,
are you
and
grabbing
Golden.
rankings from Mel, or where are you getting
No,
them from?
Dane Brugler. With credit, yeah.
Oh,
he's the one who
Bruggs.
knows. Yeah, Bruggs. But I think Mel has 3 wide receivers in the first round, and not including Travis Hunter. I think Dane Brugler has maybe one of them as being a second-round grade guy who may go in the first round. But the bottom line is that if they don't take one in the first round, they won't be taking any of the guys that came in for visits because they'll all be gone before they pick again. Now, they could trade up, all that other stuff. But, again, our friend Mel Kiper, who joined us about a week ago, has Jack Besh from TCU, B-E-C-H, but it's said like S-H at the end, from TCU as their second-round pick. Yeah, we'll see if Mel got that right or wrong. We'll have to wait and see. I do know this. When it comes to UW Credit Union, I got it right quite a while ago, and Tausch got it right recently.
Indeed, I am a UW Credit Union member, and Jason did it when he was a young man. UW Credit Union is here for every stage of life. They're here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years. They're going to help you reach your financial goals. And Riley Yauk, he's finding out about it. Everybody's finding out about it. And you ask, why'd you join UW Credit Union? Well, it's to keep your banking local. Well, yeah. Is it the member-first service? Abso-blank-and-lutely. Great perks like early payday. You would love that. But honestly, I love the selection of what you can get on your card. You can get Bucky. You can get the chairs out at the Union. It's all Wisconsin. It's all the time. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but, man, this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member today. Get that Bucky card like I did. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions do apply.
There's something else.
What do you have on your card?
Bucky.
Bucky.
That cute rascal or whatever it was you said the first time you did that read. That cute little face. I have another thing that I'm intrigued by with these visits.
Somebody's jumping on this tease train. Yeah.
I'll tell you what
King
I'm intrigued by. Next. It's Wilde And Tausch.
This is Wilde And Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. I love this time of year on the sports calendar. New baseball season underway, basketball playoffs, and speculating what Green Bay will do in the draft. And on top of all that, the weather is getting nicer and the days are getting longer. That means more sunlight and more encouragement to make the energy switch to Everlight Solar. Wouldn't you love to have a way to save money and save the planet? Well, good news. There is a way. It's by making the switch to solar. Our family is one of many who have made the switch over the last several years. When we knew we were ready to make the switch, we met with the Everlight Solar team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance, like your first home expansion. or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Families agents. Life's better when you're under American Families' roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wilde?
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts. But Pella should be everyone's number one pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply in 4/30/2025.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Chevy Truck Month is back. Get more truck for your buck at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Right now, get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months and $6,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Chevy Silverado. That's right, 2.9% for 6 years. That really is more truck for your buck. But hurry, offer ends on April 30th. Never overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet. No down payment required. Monthly payments equal $15.15 per 1,000 financed with approved credit through GM Financial.
Whether tailgating or hosting at home, don't serve boring, bland food. As the official grill of the Green Bay Packers, Pit Boss brings the heat with a wide range of wood pellet grills, smokers, and hardwood pellet fuel. Reach another level of flavor that can't be achieved with a charcoal or gas grill, and it's beyond easy. Seriously, Pit Boss grills get cooking with just a few simple steps. Grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, char grill, barbecue, and direct flame sear. The all-in-one Pit Boss does it all. Learn more today at pitbossgrills.com.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
The sound of summaries on ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Madison's home of the Brewers.
Fly ball right field. Hit a ton. We're tied.
Catch every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN. Brewers baseball on ESPN Madison is presented by Hard Rock Casino Rockford and brought to you by J&K Security Solutions and Revive Restoration. We're on the Packers.
You still want to see that steady play, that steady improvement, and you didn't get it from Jordan Love?
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
That just makes the stakes that much higher this season.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted. You were right there all along.
Matt Bowen's scheduled to appear in the 11 o'clock hour, so more Hawkeyes, a Hawkeye Palooza. So stick around for that. But before that, time to pay off one of my many frequent teases on this program.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You're all of a sudden, like, I've been doing this show with you for 9 years, and you're trying to tell me you're a teaser and that you're a Christian Watson pleaser. I don't think either of those two things are true. So
yeah, you miss a lot of shows, though. I
don't.
You were in California for like 6 months. You were in Japan.
I was on the show. You're not
yes,
that
that's true. Some pretty good camera angles,
You're not
too.
that complicated. So tell me when you've become this Christian Watson stan that you're raving about.
It was when you were in California.
You said he's spindly. You said he can't stay healthy. You're not the hater that Jesse is.
I think I've talked.
You're not in the same league as me with Christian Watson.
No, you're that's true. There's no doubt about that. But you're a fan of everybody. Mostly Goody.
I don't. I'm definitely not a fan of everybody. No, sir.
Christian Watson, as we discussed, during the Romeo Dobbs saga, was when we talked about how much I like who he is. So I am a fan of him as a person. I would like him to stay healthier. I also think that he is, while other guys talk the I'm unselfish game, he walks it. He does. Now, does that mean that he's okay with a game where he gets 0 targets? No, of course not. But unlike some other people who stayed home from work, which I believe you even cited a story from my previous publication when I pointed this out because it was maybe unnecessary, Christian Watson doesn't stay home from work. He doesn't bellyache. He just goes to work. Now, his dad, as I have said before on social media, is a little bit much for me. I don't know if he's...
Let's be honest, though. If your daughters make it professionally, you're going to be Mr. Watson.
No, I don't think that helps. I think the most important thing is to do what's going to help your kids.
You're not going to fire back at critics of your kids? Like, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real.
All right, I don't know how often you visit my social media channels, but I don't really fire back at anybody anymore. I have learned that it is a no-win situation. It only took me 14 years, but I don't. You check the tape.
A little different when it's you than when
check
it's your
the feed.
Kid. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but let's give a little grace to Mr. Watson here. Let's give a little grace. That's all I'm saying.
All I said was he's a lot. He's a lot.
Yeah, I'm saying give a little grace. That's all. Continue.
I'm saying try a little tenderness. I'm saying check out that Certs commercial. It's a candy mint. It's a breath mint. In black and white, it's such an old reference.
Makes no sense. It didn't fit that.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate your critique. What I wanted to get to is this.
It's like a breath mint. Still
the Packers had not one but 2 big fellas in for visits for their pre-draft top 30 visits, which I believe today is the final day. Sure.
Quick question. Can you reset your tees? Because
I wonder
forgot your tees. Can you reset your tees?
This is the tees.
I thought it was. Okay, I thought it was. I wanted a reset of the tees.
I don't know why
just like
I don't
author.
tease.
Well, stop being a baby.
I'm not being a baby.
Okay. I'll show you a little grace. So you teased out.
Boy, you're just
about
Johnny
the
Grace
big
today.
I'm trying to be empathetic.
Mark
and have
Grace.
A little grace. Yeah. Oh, he was fun. Yep.
So we were talking about the wide receivers who'd been in for visits, and my tease, which you may remember from 9 to 10 minutes ago, was there are some other visits that also have me intrigued. And I'll tell you who they were next. It's Wilde And Tausch.
This is Wilde And Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you think your shower is one of the ugliest in Wisconsin, upload a photo to goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest for a chance to win a free shower remodel. Yes, you heard me correctly. One lucky fan will win a free shower remodel from Kohler Services, including a design consultation, demolition, and removal of your existing shower or bath, and installation of a brand new Kohler Lugstone shower. goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest for your chance to win.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
If you missed me, Hunter Vaughn, and the Dean Dennis Summerow this week, you can listen back to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We previewed the baseball and softball seasons, looking at all the area teams that could make a run to the state tournament. Plus, we were joined by the head baseball coach of the Monona Grove Silver Eagles, Kevin Connor. Again, listen back to me and the Dean wherever you get your podcasts.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today, proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Introducing the newest carbless flavor, Mango Vodka. Flavored with the essence of the ripest, freshest mangoes, carbless mango vodka will transport your taste buds to a sunny beach getaway. New flavor, still the same carbless crafted cocktails with 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and only 100 calories. Enjoy a refreshing vodka cocktail without the guilt. 4 packs of the new carbless mango vodka cocktail are available in stores near you. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com and escape with every sip.
When it comes to your body, you want to trust a doctor, and you want to trust the experts. That's why the only place that you should consider going for GLP-1s and semaglutide is Carbon World Health in Madison. Because they're run by Dr. Nestor Rodriguez, they have a workout facility and trainers to help you reach your goals, and they can help with dietary suggestions. The experts for semaglutide and GLP-1s are Carbon World Health. Learn more at carbonworldhealth.com.
Get a sneak peek at the 2025 Wisconsin football team. Join us April 19th for Wisconsin Football Spring Showcase presented by UW Credit Union. The day kicks off with the Coles Kids Combine, followed by Badgers Open Practice at noon, featuring new faces like quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. and offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes. After practice, head to the field for photos with Badgers student-athletes. Tickets are $5 and free for football season ticket holders, UW students, and kids under 12. Claim your tickets for the Wisconsin Football Spring Showcase at uwbadgers.com.
Get ready for the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon Golf Outing on Friday, May 30th at Old Hickory Golf Club in Beaver Dam. Registration's at 11 a.m. while 12 p.m. marks the shotgun start. It's only $350 for a foursome with 2 carts and a lunch for 4. The registration deadline is May 16th. A form and more details are available at dailydodge.com. All funds raised through the day will benefit the 2025 Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon.
Brewers baseball is back.
Bunting it up the first baseline. It's a good bunt. Racing home is done. He will score. Bryce Terrain gets the job done.
Hear the sound of summer right here on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Tonight's the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait.
I think it's time to abandon teases.
Yeah, it seems like you should. You teased us right out of a break that we didn't even want to have.
No, I'm not here to point fingers, but I think Riley was only half listening to the show. I was redoing the tease, and then I was going to pay it off immediately, and then he hit a button that sent us to commercial.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for that. That was on me. I
swear
I was listening.
You know what you should do, Youngster? Crack open a Coors Light, take a blow,
Okay.
take a beat. Coors Light brewed with that 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and cold package, so it's made to chill. Born in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado in 1978, Coors Light's refreshing. It is crisp. It's only 102 calories. Celebrate responsibly, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
I think that's against company policy.
Yeah, don't do it. But
So
take a beat.
Taking us to break 20 minutes early. So.
Well, we were behind. This is actually on time.
Oh,
it
you
got
have
us
a
back on
precious
time.
policy.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, look at. We finally got somebody that can manage a clock.
Sort of, yeah. So we're gonna play trivia next, but I'm not gonna redo the tease a third time because Lord knows what'll happen then. But my point was there were some other visits that intrigued me beyond the wide receivers. Matt Schneidman of The Athletic was the one to post these or to report these. Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan and Oregon defensive end Jordan Birch came in for pre-draft visits yesterday. Dane Brugler gives Nolan a first/second round grade and Birch a second round grade. Having watched a fair number of Oregon games, you obviously were there for Oregon, Wisconsin at Camp Randall. Jordan Burch is a pretty intriguing player. He's one of the better edge rushers in this draft, top 10 of the edge rushers in this draft. That, to me, would be a lot less surprising than some of the other moves that Goody could make in the first round. I don't think he's going to draft an offensive tackle. I know there are those that believe that. I think if a wide receiver is there, he's going to pull the ripcord on that and finally jump out of that airplane after many, many years. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's another defensive tackle or defensive end, even though they've invested so heavily. So Burch, to me, is a guy who would make sense. Again, maybe Mel Kiper thinks that's a reach at number 23. The feeling across the league, I think, is that he would not be there by the time the Packers picked again at 54.
Yeah, but we don't know that. And you asked the question about wide receivers and what that means. What does that mean if Goody pulls the trigger on a Burch or an edge rush guy?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he's lost faith in his guys? Or does that mean we just need more guys?
You can never have too many pass rushers, Tausch.
Okay.
But
listening to your guy Brugler's insights on this, it feels like even though Mark Murphy said to Goody, trade if you need to, doesn't it feel like this might be a year to trade back, accumulate some picks, and get more bites at that second-round apple? Especially when you start looking at, Green Bay, this is not me talking. This is Ned and everybody else that does not like Goody and thinks he should be fired. Goody's first-round picks have been a mixed bag. He's done a much better job with his second and third-round picks. He's a lot like Ron Wolf in that regard. So you want more picks. There seems to be very top-heavy talent in this draft, and then a bunch of guys that are very good players that you think, if you get in the right fit, is this the year that maybe Goody looks at it and says, I can trade 23, get a couple more seconds, and maybe it can get more bites at getting some of these guys that we have coming in on these top 30 picks that would really fit our team well. Does that make sense to you? And I don't think it's going to be, well, we're in Green Bay, we got to draft. That is not going to be part of Goody's thought process at all.
Look, I think there's a chance that we get to 23 and there are not a lot of guys that Goody views as worthy of that pick, right? There's always these cliffs that there are drop-offs, and then there's pick 20 through 50, they're kind of all graded the same, right? Goody talked about that in past years. Ted Thompson talked about that. I don't know what his board looks like. I don't know. But it's possible that he will, remember what they did when they got Jaden Reed? They traded back not once but twice because they had a cluster of players that they liked, and they accumulated extra picks by doing that. They traded one to the Lions so they could draft Brian Branch. They could have taken Jaden Reed there. They didn't. And my point to Goody was about how much of this is luck, because when you do that, there may be guys that you like a little bit better, but that guy may go because you've moved back multiple times. So I don't know. I don't know enough about Burch other than what I've seen him do in Oregon games to say, okay, this guy's got to go. You can't get him if you're trying to get him in the second round. Again, Cooper DeJean, everyone had as a first-round pick last year. Every mock draft you saw, most of them had him going to the Packers.
Yeah, teams didn't, though.
Right, exactly.
And maybe they should have. Maybe the experts were more right than the teams were. Birch, where are you ranking that in your strong woods categories?
I'm more of an oak guy.
I think ash. I like ash.
Tucker Ashcraft.
Well, that's a tough one to say. Tough one to say. And now with old boy leaving the program, he's back to being the big dog. Back to being the big dog.
Well, you also have to make sure that you're watching out for the ash borer. Isn't that the one that we have all the commercials
There's
for?
Some disease that you got to make sure you put that bag up and get all those bugs out of there.
Yeah, it's trouble. It's definitely problematic. What's
that real soft hardwood? What is that one called?
Well, is it soft or is it hard?
Balsam? I think it's balsam.
Balsam.
It's a bendier.
Bamboo?
No, bamboo's. I don't even know if bamboo is in the wood category.
What about ironwood?
Ironwood?
Yeah.
That's a city. I think that's a city in Michigan. I don't want to give anything away.
And longitudinally, where is it? All right, we need to play. Speaking of trivia, we need to play trivia. Riley?
Yes.
What's your category for today? It is Wednesday.
Yep. So we did Wisconsin geography trivia, as is tradition, and I was able to get my friend Joe, who dropped the ball, to write one question. He wrote one question, I wrote the other two. No.
Or ball dropping Joe.
Ball dropping Joe.
Oh, ball dropping Joe.
He wrote one question.
Okay. Ball dropping Joe has one question. Riley, what caller would you like?
Let's go. I like the number 9.
Well, what inning did he drop the ball in?
He dropped the ball
in
inning 9.
Ball dropping Joe writes questions. You bring it back to ball dropping Joe.
He dropped it in inning 9. 9th inning.
Well, there you go.
We got caller 9.
Jeez, that's a big choke.
Yeah, it was rough.
Big old choke.
Caller 9 right now to play trivia, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 9 plays trivia next. Want to remind you the moments in that magical March 2015 run by your Wisconsin men's basketball team. Frank Kaminsky leading the charge for Bo Ryan on their run to the championship game. Well, you can relive it all with Made 'em Believe on June 26th. Join Frank, Sam Decker, Bo Ryan, and more for an intimate night at the Orpheum Theater in Madison to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of that team. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. That's uwhoops2015.com. Trivia's next. It's Wilde And Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
because we're on Wisconsin sports,
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN. You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb.
With your Badger Minute, I'm Riley Yauk, in for Pablo Iglesias. It's been a rough week for Wisconsin football, to say the least, and things went from bad to worse Tuesday morning as head coach Luke Fickell confirmed that starting left tackle Kevin Haywood will undergo ACL surgery and more than likely miss the entirety of the 2025 season. Haywood started every game for the Badgers last year and by all accounts was having an impressive spring. Junior Josh Layton has been practicing in his stead.
Everyone is talking about the draft, but you won't feel one from high-quality Pella Windows. Get no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades today at PellaWI.com.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owned. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're on the Packers.
You still want to see that steady play, that steady improvement, and you didn't get it from Jordan Love?
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
That just makes the stakes that much higher this season.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Time for trivia. We've got Matt Bowen from ESPN coming up at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. And then in Madison, we will bid you farewell at 11:30 to give way to the Brewers pregame. But before that, we got to play trivia. Let's welcome in our contestant. It's my buddy Dan in Brothertown. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jason. I'm actually up in your neck of the woods. I'm up in Green Bay watching my grandchildren.
Kayla hitting the transfer portal, picking up some more Phoenix, and you've got to watch the kiddos while she's working the roster?
Yeah, a little bit like that. That's pretty much like it is, except for my son's out golfing and Kayla's working. So Margaret, my wife, and I came up here to watch the grandkids. We have a great time every time we see them.
Well, I hope Rick hits them straight. Let's get all these questions right. It is Wisconsin Geography Wednesday. Question number 1 is this. Which of these southern Wisconsin cities is home to the Trollway and is known as the Troll Capital? Is it Broadhead, Mount Horeb, or Asyn?
Well, it's not Mount Horeb. That's by Madison. So I'm going to say, what was the first one? Broadhead?
Broadhead,
I gotta go with
Mount
Broadhead.
Horeb, and Asyn. Are we considering Wisconsin? Are we considering Mount Horeb a southern Wisconsin city? South Central, maybe?
Is it not in southern Wisconsin?
Well, it's west of Madison.
That's
Southern adjacent.
still pretty southern. That's at the
Okay.
that's in the lower third of the state.
All right, Riley.
Okay.
Maybe we should just go to break.
Yeah, we'll tease us out.
Dan, we'll huddle on this one. I do find that slightly misleading. Question 2 is this: latitudinally, which of these Milwaukee landmarks is farthest south? We're big on the south today.
Oh, God.
Is it? Which of these is the farthest south? Is it Fiserv Forum, American Family Field, or the Summerfest grounds, or perhaps the Mount Horeb Convocation Center? Sorry. Fiserv Forum, American Family Field, or the Summerfest grounds?
Wow, let's see, between Pfizer and the Summerfest grounds. Oh, geez. I'm going to go Summerfest. No, Pfizer.
Oh, no, you had it. And then you didn't.
Oh, jeez.
It's a good thing you're enjoying your time with the grandkids, because this is not going well.
No kidding. No kidding.
Dan, question 3. Got a chance to avoid being skunked.
No kidding.
Milton, Wisconsin, which some might say is in the southern part of the state, is home to a building that was part of the Underground Railroad and is the most prevalent abolitionist site still standing in the state of Wisconsin. What is the name of this building? Is it Milton House, Milton Hotel, or Milton Motel?
I'm going to say, I have no clue. I'm going to say Milton House.
All right, we avoided the dreaded 0. Is Hunter Vaughn available to do some trivia?
My goodness.
Dan, you got one right. There's some question as to whether the first question was accurately depicted or not.
Jeff in McFarland has my back. He said Mount Horeb is definitely in southern Wisconsin. He's from McFarland, also very close to Mount Horeb.
Okay. All right. Be that as it may, you've got 2 entries into Friday's drawing. Dan, we appreciate you, buddy. Thanks.
You bet. Take care, guys.
That is Wilde And Tausch trivia. Tausch, you look perplexed.
Well, I mean, Mount Horeb's in southern Wisconsin.
Is it?
Yeah.
South Central?
I mean, it's not southern, but and Trolls. That was not as difficult a question as I think we'd like to lead on. If we're being honest.
I don't know what they have at Broadhead. I know Judah is right nearby, though.
One of the
what I know is
city names in the state.
Now, no matter which southern, northern, eastern, western Wisconsin location you may be in, you can make the call if you've been injured in an accident to Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666, or go to the website gruber-law.com to find out more. Our friend Matt Bowen, Tausch's draft class classmate, joins us to kick off the 11 o'clock hour in 2 minutes, so stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde And Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, I mean, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Monte Ball.
Monte steps to the right, dashes, reaches, touchdown.
You listen to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison. My name is Riley Yauk, and this is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Wisconsin Badgers Volleyball on ESPN Madison. Don't miss a special radio broadcast of the spring match at the Fieldhouse today, Wednesday, April 16th this evening, featuring Wisconsin hosting Marquette right here on Madison's home of Wisconsin Badgers Volleyball, 100.5 ESPN. Starting out at American Family Field, not quite as south as the Summerfest grounds. The Brewers bounced back nicely last night, shutting out the Detroit Tigers 5-0. Reese Hoskins hit his first tater of the season, and Quinn Priester threw 5 scoreless innings in the victory. Crew's right back at it today, looking to win the series with Jose Quintana on the bump. First pitch is scheduled for 12:10 with pregame coverage beginning at 11:30, just 25 minutes away, right here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 101.5 ESPN. You can listen to the last 30 minutes of Wilde And Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Then here in Madison, 2 more receivers hit the spring portal, Mark Hamper and Quincy Burrows. The 11 o'clock hour starts right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now, but before we can get to Matt Bowen, Tausch needs to tell us about AmFam.
Well, Matt Bowen and I both dreamed fearlessly that we'd be NFL players. We were drafted right around the same time as Tom Brady, and American Family Insurance is a proud sponsor of Wilde and Tausch for almost 100 years. They've been committed to making life better with the right home and auto protection, so you're free to enjoy chasing your dreams. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com.
So you guys were in the same draft together. You were also on the same field together, right?
Yeah, we played together
when
for
Ron Dane,
at least a season. Oh, no, I thought we played in Green Bay for 1, maybe 2 seasons. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, for sure. For sure you did, yeah. But I meant in college. You were on the – did you block him?
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I blocked him well.
I'm sure you did. Well, let's unblock him and let him join the show. Joining us now, one of our favorite Hawkeyes, one of our favorite guys, and one of Tausch's favorite teammates and draft classmates from ESPN. It is Matt Bowen on Wilde and Tausch. Matthew! Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I was listening to you guys. Yeah, Tausch got me a couple times. So that entire Wisconsin offensive line, and that would have been the 99 game. We went up to Madison. It was a game that Ron Dane broke the record. So wasn't a great night for us. Wasn't a great night for the Hawks, but a really good night for Tausch and the Badgers.
Would you say
it was? That was a fantastic night, but that was kind of the start. I think that was Ferentz's first year, and I unfortunately got a very good seat to last season's game at Iowa. Great campus. I had not spent a ton of time down there, Matt. I love that campus. Now, that is a great setup, and the fact that y'all bludgeoned us to death put a big sting in it, but great place. That is a fantastic spot down there in Iowa City.
It is. Downtown is great. The Ped Mall down. You get a lot of fun down there. And a lot different. I was just there this past weekend watching spring practice and seeing Coach Ferentz and the guys out there, and how much has been done to the campus in terms of what they've done to upgrade around campus, the buildings. The English building that I went to is still there, unfortunately, but the rest of the buildings are really nice on campus. They've done a great job downtown. Just the restaurants, what they've added, it is outstanding. Obviously, Madison, I've been to Madison, obviously as a player multiple times, but also just as a fan, and obviously that's one of the best in the Big Ten also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost Iowa, almost as nice as Madison now. All right, Matt. Look, I know you were Cooper DeJean before Cooper DeJean, but
no.
Well, okay, maybe that's an overstatement. But I use him as an example of the inexact science that is the draft industrial complex,
Sure.
right? Like you know ball as well as anybody. That's why we love having you on. Frankly, I wish we had you on more. But you saw him play a ton. You're an Iowa guy. Everyone had him in their mock drafts because it's this echo chamber of mock drafts. Everyone had him going to the Packers in the first round. Not only does he not end up with the Packers, he doesn't end up in the first round. Goes to Philly, has a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Looks like he's off to a pretty decent start as an NFL player. Help me understand your process of going through the pre-draft, film that you're looking at and trying to project, because as much as you know, there's a lot you don't know, and that is how teams are viewing guys, whether it's the same way as you're viewing them.
I agree. And what I can do is what the film says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch the tape or the film, however you want to call it, throughout the season. Watch it postseason. Look at their traits, how they would fit in an NFL defense. Weigh in their production. Obviously, the testing times do matter when you're talking about a position like corner or safety, and obviously a wide receiver. But I don't have the entire picture. That's what I'm trying to say. If you work in an NFL building right now, you're trying to get the entire picture. You're talking to the position coach, their head coach, their strength coach. You're verifying their football character, what level that is at. You're verifying their work ethic, how they're going to prepare as a pro, based on how they prepared at the college level. And you're looking at them versus top-tier competition. What do they do versus NFL competition? What do they do against, average college competition? Because it's going to change. That's one of the toughest parts is when you're watching the tape and they're not going against an NFL guy, right? And they're a very productive player and they have the traits, but they're not doing it against, competition they're going to see in the future on Sundays. That's a tough part of it also. So at that part, you really just have to focus on the traits. And then, look, it's really no different than high school recruiting. I've been coaching at the high school level for 11 years now, and it's very similar. The top-tier talent is based on height, weight, and speed and measurables, right? Those are the guys that go to the big-time college programs. Does that mean they're going to be big-time college players? It does not. And we see that all the time in the NFL draft, especially in the first really 30, 40 picks, where prospects are drafted based on what they can be, what their perceived ceiling is going to be. But again, it's based on those traits. And some guys just can't put it together at the NFL level or get put in, negative situations based on the team they're with, based on the level of talent they have in that football team, based on the position they play. There's so much that goes into it, Jason, that you do make mistakes. And you also see players that are overlooked, like Cooper DeJean, who I thought was a top 20 player last year, goes in the second round, and you say, you know what? He was one of the best rookies in the entire league last year.
Matt, I guess one of the questions I have is, you also want to see how guys respond to adversity because, listen, no doubt, height, weight, speed, all the stuff that you see at the combine, that's all goes into the equation. But part of what I want to see, and I'm sure a lot of evaluators want to see, is how do you handle adversity? How do you handle having bad things happen? Because it's going to happen to every player. And with this new system of college football, with guys leaving, transferring, and kind of always looking for the easier option, has it gotten to be a lot more difficult to evaluate guys?
I think it has, for sure, Tausch. And that's why I like the Senior Bowl so much. It's because of the Senior Bowl, when you're down there, you get to see live football, obviously, but you're not going to win every rep, right? You get to see how they're coached, how they respond to coaching, how they respond to a new voice, which is an NFL voice, because they have NFL coaching staffs down there in the field in Mobile. I think that's one way to look at how a player can handle, football adversity on the field. But also, to your point, Tausch, there's not how many programs are left in college football. Using the term program, how many programs are left? Because it is free agency right now in college. And it's tough to evaluate that, to your point, because the first sign of adversity, a lot of what we're seeing, not everyone, I'm not saying every college player that transfers, but the first sign of adversity, different than when you and I played at Iowa and Wisconsin, where you were locked in really, and you had to work through that adversity. That's part of being a college athlete back in the 90s. If you transferred, you sat out for an entire year. So that wasn't really an option. So you figured out a way to make it work, right? But now you can't just get up and leave. It is tough, and it is part that is going to make the evaluation process even tougher. Look, I tell the kids I coach all the time, where I coach at IC Catholic here in Elmhurst, is I had to wait 3 years post-high school to play college football. I went to Iowa as a quarterback. That didn't work out. My redshirt freshman year, I played on special teams. That was it. And then my sophomore year, I was like the dime safety. Well, back then people were still running the power I. You didn't have your sub package in the field, but maybe 5-8 plays a game. So that's my first 3 years of college football, right? And then I earned a spot as a junior. And also I played behind two guys that went to the NFL in the secondary. And they were better than me. I wasn't ready to play yet. I needed the time to develop. And I'm wondering right now, in terms of comparing it to this discussion we're having, how much developmental time are guys really getting? How much are they really getting coached in college football right now? And that's, again, part of the evaluation process. And I think you have to look that when they get to the NFL, there's going to be a longer developmental period because of the transfer portal.
How much NIL money would you get today?
You don't really have time. What's that?
I said, how much NIL money would you get today, Matt?
I just need enough for Busch Light in Iowa City. I don't need a lot. That's good. I'll tell you a quick story. I worked for the Daily Iowan when I was in college. I wrote a column for the Daily Iowan. But during the season, I would get $8 a column, okay? And during the season, I could not accept the money per the NCAA. I could not. They said it was illegal to accept $8 for writing a column in the Daily Iowan. That's 8 Busch Lights right there.
Well, we drink Coors Light on this show, but be that as it may. Sorry, Tausch, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the idea of development and having that now, you're going to see, and I'm sure you see this with your high school guys, it's going to be more of a process that you're going to have to go to some of these smaller schools, develop, and then these smaller schools, the South Dakotas and some of these programs, are basically feeding the big boy collegiate programs, and that process – you're going to be playing earlier, but you're going to be playing at a smaller level because I think most, unless you're a 5 or 4-star recruit, my story and your story would not be starting, at least I can only speak for me, would not be starting at Wisconsin. It would be starting at a smaller school that then you build to get to the point where you can go and play at an Iowa or a Wisconsin.
Sure, and think about this too, Tausch. There's not as many scholarships left for high school kids right now.
Nope.
It's tough because, if you're a college coach and we know it's the business of winning and you have to win now, are you going to take a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid coming out of high school? We're going to take a 20-year-old that's played 2 years at, let's say, Bowling Green or NIU or South Dakota State, right?
Yep.
Who is game ready, who has played in big games, that is ready to compete in the Big Ten now, right? And that's the tough part. And that's why I brought up how many programs are left and how many will be left in 3 to 4 years if the NCAA in college football doesn't come to some sort of agreement where you can make this a situation where players can earn money for the name, image, and likeness, but also be able to build programs, also have players sign contracts. To get a hold of this and to tighten it a little bit, okay, so you can create a playing field that is at least somewhat even. Now, look, Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten are always going to be different than Iowa and Wisconsin. I think we all can agree with that. But can you make it a little bit more of an even playing field?
No doubt. All right, Matt, I'm intrigued with Green Bay's opportunities here. You're a defensive back guy. That's kind of where you study all of it. But anybody that you think would be a good fit at that spot that might be available, who are those top guys? Because I think Green Bay is in the market for a corner that could come in and be what Cooper DeJean did last year. Anybody in that ballpark that you think it might be a good fit?
Yeah, I do. Now, I think Will Johnson would be an excellent fit. I don't think he's going to be there when Green Bay is on the clock. That's a corner from Michigan. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky is one I really looked at. In terms of what I think Green Bay wants to be more aggressive in terms of their foundational coverage. I think they want to play more man coverage. I think everyone in the NFL wants to do that right now. And Harrison is a man corner. Does that mean he can't play zone? No, he can play zone. He has zone vision. What I mean by that, guys, he can play off the ball, read through to the quarterback, and get a jump on the football to make plays. But he also has the man traits you want in the secondary. Trey Amos from Ole Miss has length at the cornerback position, had 15 PBUs, passes broken up, the second most in the nation last year. He can play press, he can open and run, he can drive and in breakers, and again, he can play off the football, and he's a willing tackler. And that's the one thing, because this is going to be brought up, especially over the next 2 weeks when it comes to the cornerback position. You don't have to be, you don't have to be Steve Atwater. Okay, you don't have to be a safety that is physical and strikes on contact. You have to be a willing tackler. You have to get the ball carrier on the ground. Okay, so if you are willing, and I'm your secondary coach, I can teach that, right? I can encourage that. I can motivate that. I can make that stronger, but you just have to be willing in that situation. Thomas out of Florida State, he was excellent down at the Senior Bowl. Excellent down at the Senior Bowl. Long press corner. Again, someone who fits for a defense I think wants to play more man coverage. I think that area right there, those three corners, if you're a Green Bay fan, you're saying, well, I think the team might look at the secondary. Those three corners, that'd be the ballpark I'm looking at.
Matt, I read your 100 traits piece on ESPN Plus. You go through all these different positions and all the different traits. The one I'm interested, though, since Tausch asked about defensive backs, is the defensive line, right? I mean, we're talking about the guy that we're talking about in Green Bay is Shamar Stewart, who came in for a visit.
Yeah.
He had the 9.99 RAS score, and he had like 1.5 sacks a year. How do you view him? Because he did have a visit to Green Bay. Goody loves RAS scores, but the production would scare me.
That's a great point. You have to say what it does. Do the traits outweigh the production? If they do, then you draft him. If you don't believe that, the traits are going to transition into a situation where you're going to be a productive pro, then you pass. I know that sounds really simple, but you have to look at the tape. Now, there's things in the tape with Stewart. His pursuit speed is excellent. His range on the defensive line, especially off the edge, is excellent. He has everything you want in terms of building an edge rusher in the National Football League. But the production you still have to say, guys, the production was not there. Why was it not there? Is he close to getting there? Can he be more efficient with his hands? Can he take a different rush pass? Are there things I can teach, more importantly? And that's the discussion you have to have with the general manager and your coaching staff. Can we teach this in Green Bay? Can we teach them to play Green Bay Packers football? Can we do this? Because it has everything else we want. But you have to really bet in your coaches and really trust your coaches if you're going to take a chance on someone who simply didn't have high-level production in college and you're taking them in the first round.
All right, I want to ask you about one other pass rusher, then we'll let you go. I think Mel Kiper has this guy as his pick for the Packers. It's Michael Williams from Georgia. They have a history of drafting Georgia guys. They also drafted another Iowa guy who doesn't join our show as often, in Lucas Van Ness, who they call him Hercules. But what we've seen from him is perhaps a struggle to develop beyond the bull rush, more counter moves as a pass rusher. He hasn't been super productive. What do you think about Williams? Because you have him in the best speed to power category of your skill sets on ESPN.com.
I think he has tremendous upside. I think that's what you're drafting because all the physical tools are there. If you're looking for a powerful edge rusher who can generate enough speed off the edge to wrap the corner, but also to drive offensive tackles back and create pocket disruption. I look at the physical tools because he has the frame, he has the play strength, he has the power at the point of attack. He still has to develop in certain areas, but again, you have seen enough on the tape, especially against SEC competition. You've seen enough production on the tape to say, look, when we get him with our coaches and we get him with our veteran players, this someone can develop into a starting edge rusher for us. In terms of Lucas Van Ness, yes, I agree with what you're saying. He has to develop more, a deeper rush plan. He has to. But again, the traits are there. And you're looking at someone who's still Lucas is only 23 years old. You have to remember that. He came into the NFL at 20. He's only 23 years old. He's not even entering his prime years left. So I'm not guaranteeing anything, but if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, don't give up on him yet. Because I know how he was at Iowa, and you have to say, okay, maybe this is the year after 2 years in the NFL, 2 years of self-scouting, of knowing his divisional opponents. This is the year when he plays a much more productive role for us.
And you'd say that if he played for the Badgers, too.
I would, yes.
Matt, we love you, buddy. Thanks a lot. We always appreciate your time. Let's catch up again soon.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you. Thank you.
That is the magnificent Matt Bowen, who, if you don't read him on ESPN.com, you're not as smart about football as you could be if you did read him. It is well worth your time. Much like it's well worth your time to make a road trip to the Hard Rock Casino Rockford like we're going to be making in a couple weeks.
Indeed we are. If we're going to go down to watch Matt Bowen coach up his kids, heading down towards the Chicago area, oh, baby, the new Hard Rock Casino Rockford features over 175,000 square feet of gaming and entertainment space, including more than 1,300 slot machines, 50 live table games, a sports book, and a rock shop. And if you're hungry, guests can enjoy diverse dining options at the Hard Rock Cafe, Council Oak Steaks and Seafood, Bricked Italian Kitchen. I love the Noodle Bar, street tacos, and constant grind. Head on over. Again, you're heading down 90. Take that beautiful trip. Right on the left-hand side of the road, you see that big old purple and yellow gold guitar. That means you're at the premier entertainment destination just off of I-90 in Rockford, Illinois, the Hard Rock Casino, Rockford.
More Wilde and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. Well, we're about to find out which new young players will be drafted in Green Bay to join the squad and help lead it into the future. Along with hosting the draft for the football world to see, it's an incredibly exciting time in Wisconsin sports. And with all this excitement, maybe it's also time for you to start thinking about a new vehicle. Well, if that's the case, start your search with Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Check out more than 60 new Chevy Equinox on the lot at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the largest selection in the state. There are also more than 30 Silverados and more than 30 sporty new Trax and Trailblazer models. Stop into Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie and discover this great selection of new vehicles from the automotive team I've been telling you about for years. Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wilde? Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts. But Pella should be everyone's #1 pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply in 4/30/2025.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
When you tell me I'm a wreck, you say that I'm a mess. How could you expect anything less? You latched onto me, then cried how strong you were.
All right, in Madison, we are going to step aside for Brewers coverage. You can still listen to us in Milwaukee and Beaver Dam, and, of course, find us on YouTube and streaming. Brewers are next on ESPN Madison. Stick around for another half hour of Wilde and Tausch. Bye.
Carbless is here with refreshing new flavors. Introducing their Tropical Bliss Variety Pack. Let the summertime flavors of blood orange, watermelon, raspberry, and grapefruit whisk you away from the winter blues. New flavors, same great Carbless perks. Every handcrafted cocktail still has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and just 100 calories. Find the Tropical Bliss Variety Pack in store wherever Carbless is sold and enjoy your winter passport to paradise. Grab a pack today and discover why less is more with Carbless.
Outdoor Living Unlimited's showroom on Stoughton Road is absolutely a must-see. Nobody builds a better backyard better than Outdoor Living Unlimited. New deck, outdoor kitchen, screen room, fire pit, and in-ground pool. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in building the new deck. Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech decking installer. Looking for a backyard hardscape design? Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited's amazing Madison showroom. Visit our open house on Saturday, April 19th from 9 to 1 p.m. and meet the team, or visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Hey, ready to sweeten your game? It's time for Quick Trip's Nature's Touch Ice Cream. Ooh, making moves like the starting lineup of a championship team. Whether you're gearing up for the big game, celebrating a win, or just looking for a sweet break in the action. Chocolate, vanilla, cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip, and more. Yeah, there's no such thing as a bad pick. So why wait? Flavor doesn't scoop itself. Get your hands on your winning Nature's Touch Ice Cream flavor today. Only at Quick Trip.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
If you missed me, Hunter Vaughn, and the Dean Dennis Summerow this week, you can listen back to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We previewed the baseball and softball seasons, looking at all the area teams that could make a run to the state tournament. Plus, we were joined by the head baseball coach of the Monona Grove Silver Eagles, Kevin Connor. Again, listen back to me and the Dean wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 100.5 ESPN.
Lillard's going to tee up a three, and he splashes it through for the left wing.
Brought to you by Michelob Ultra, the official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Back-to-back wins against the Pistons over the weekend for the Bucks, and they end their regular season on an 8-game winning streak, undefeated in the regular season in the month of April. Here's head coach Doc Rivers on improvements.
Yeah, just offensive execution. There's times we have these dead periods in the game that you can't afford to have in the playoffs. Transition defense is probably the number one key. Corner threes, I guess. And